So now what do I do? Well, I guess there's only one thing. There's something I'd like to know. Are you real? Can you feel?
Hi friends, I'm Prairie Vintage. My name's Linda. I'm an energy intuitive reader here on YouTube, and I use spirit, my intuition, the tarot, to communicate energies to you guys, most fabulous viewers. If you guys are new to this channel, I'm so blessed that you guys are here. I'm so glad that you found me, and I do hope that this reading does resonate for you. If it doesn't resonate, please go check out my playlist and find an energy frequency that is more aligned with your timeline. For the rest of you guys who are here and are returning again, I am so blessed, so grateful to do your reading, and I cannot wait to see what your messaging is today. Beautiful angels, thank you so much. You guys are all very safe and welcome in this space with me today. Just quickly, I'm sort of going through a very intense Kundalini that was stable for quite some time, or at least it's stabilized for quite some time, and it's moving very fast throughout my energy system. Okay, so I'm trying to integrate, keep up with the Kundalini, and integrate and keep up with the ascension and keep up. And it's like these like very fast cycles, and they're turbulent. Okay, so I'm energetically drained, and then tired, and then stable, and then clear, and then tired, and then drained, and then stable, and then rageful, and then loveful, and then peaceful. It's kind of really all over the place energetically, and I know it's just a natural process as I flow through embodying the Kundalini and grounding myself here in the 3D more stable. And so I'm fleshing out subtle ego identities, and it's quite the I don't know what to expect energy. Okay, so if I haven't been consistent with my readings, that would be because my energy is sort of at the mercy of that system. But I do suspect that I will be a little more clear, a little more grounded, a little bit more consistent with my Virgo energy. Okay, here for you guys, and more available to offering you assistance than I have been. I've been a little closed off because of the fact that I've been working through my own healing and my own transition and my own journey. Okay, so I had limited amount of availability. But anyway, you guys aren't caring about all of that sort of stuff. But just for those of you guys who are looking for support in your journey, okay, I do intend on being more available here energetically to just support you however that comes through, whatever you're needing. So beautiful angels, these are the decks I'm going to be using for today's reading, and these are the 3 picks. Okay, and we're looking at what are you ready for next in your spiritual journey? What will you be working through or processing? So kind of a glimpse. And I am suspecting Spirit's going to sort of overlap a little bit of what you're working through right now and coming through the other side and what you can expect. Okay, but we'll focus more on like what's sort of coming in, or what sort of energy are you embodying from a spiritual level. Okay, and I'll try to tie it back to what that will look like in your practical world, so that we're not completely floating in some 5D space, unless, of course, that's where your energy is at. Then I'll reflect back to you what the cards are showing in your language of understanding, if you resonate with my channeling and the way that I'm reading, and of course, if I'm connected to your energy frequency. Okay, so if you have been here before, chances are I am tapped into your energy frequency, but we're all in different places in our timeline. Okay, and so if no pile resonates today, you can come back. Okay, it just could be out of your conscious awareness, and that doesn't mean that we can't connect at a later point. Okay, if the energy does sound old and like systems you've already worked through, then there might be another pile for you or another reading for you. Okay, but don't force it to fit, and just have an open sort of energy field in regards to what might pull through here, because I don't know what the messaging is until I channel. Okay, but my promise to you is to read the cards and the energy exactly as it comes through, and deliver it exactly as it is channeled through me. Okay, so I don't know if I said I'll link the deck flip throughs right here for these decks. So for those of you guys who are interested in energetically charging these decks for future readings, or if you're just interested in the cards because you collect them, then you can take a look at that playlist. So for this, pick a card or pick a pile, pick a deck reading. We have markers to choose from. Okay, so we have these three. I'm going to remove these decks, and then I'm going to put the three options out so that you can use your intuition to guide you into whichever option. But if at any point you know which one you're leaning in towards, you can select from the timestamp down below. Take as long as you need, and know that energy is always interconnected, and you could be tapped into multiple energy frequencies when it comes to different aspects of your situation. Okay, so that meaning you might be drawn to multiple piles, and that's fine, but don't force it. So I will see you guys at your pick. Gorgeous Angel, option number 1, I'll hold it up so that you guys can take a good look at it. Is this yellow marker? Option number 2 is the purple marker. Option number 3 is the lime green marker. All right, I will leave the video running for a bit, and whenever you're ready, select from the timestamp below. And like I said, if you are drawn to multiple, just listen to your intuition. If it doesn't resonate, you can always pull out of that reading and go listen to another pile. All right, I will see you guys at your pick. Hello, Gorgeous Angel, pile number 1. You guys picked the yellow marker, which is in line with the solar plexus energy. So let's take a look at what are you sort of ready for next here, energetically, spiritually, okay? And like I mentioned in the intro, I will try to tie it back to the practical world here and how it manifests, but a lot of our journeys could be happening in the ethereal spiritual body. And so this might be a lot of 5D spiritual gobbledygook. Okay, I can't promise you, but it will be reflecting back to you what's going on, maybe even, in dream state or subconsciously, and you might not be fully conscious of this, and it doesn't mean it's not your pile. This is why I want to also pull is something that you're experiencing or seeing in the 3D as well, okay, so that you know whether this is your pile. But remember, this is a spiritual reading, okay? Just be open, but do not force it, and allow yourself to tap into your intuition. So what I will do is I'm going to shuffle these cards. There's a few decks that I am being called to use for this reading. I know this process takes long. You can skip ahead if you want, but spiritually, I do ask that you develop your intuition before you just go click happy on random videos on the internet. You could do what you want, but I want to make that very clear that I am here to develop your intuition when it comes to sitting and resonating with the readings that I'm delivering here today, because I do not want you on a wild goose chase. Okay, and the best way to develop your intuition is to sit through this card process so that you can really tap into the energy here. Okay, but I know we're in TikTok days and everyone wants fast burger readings. So if you want a fast burger reading, especially if we're in solar plexus, then we can go to a fast burger reader. All right, so let's take a look and ask Spirit for what's going on with pile number 1 in regards to what are they ready for their spiritual journey, and what are they fast approaching here in regards to what's next in their journey. How is this manifesting, and what are they sort of working through or working out of and coming into in a way that pile number 1 will understand. Thank you so much, Spirit, for this beautiful message. We're so blessed to be here. I'm so grateful to be doing your reading, pile number 1. And I do hope that this reading resonates for you. Pile number 1. What is it that pile 1 has been working through, is coming out of, and what are they ready for next, spiritually and in their growth journey? What does it look like? Thank you, Spirit, for this message. That one's sliding off the top. So we have 2 more decks. Clear and concise message for beautiful pile number 1. Please protect me and the viewer as I channel this message for the greatest and highest good of pile 1. Pile 1, thank you so much for allowing me to tap into your energy, the energy around you at this time. I'm so blessed to be here doing your reading. And one of these. Clear and concise message for pile 1, Spirit. Please help me to channel in a way that pile 1 will understand what is being communicated for their greatest and highest good. Please protect them on their journey as I channel this message intended for the greatest and highest good. All right, let me move this out of the way so I can flail my hands about. Okay, pile 1. This might take a bit. We're going to reveal these cards. I'm going to lay them out, and then we're going to begin channeling. Like I said, at any point, if you want to skip ahead, you can select from the timestamp below. So we have number 2, the veil of ignorance, ego level, being useful, need of recognition, rescuer syndrome, helper's pride, self-forgetfulness, veiled own needs, affective dependence, type 2, the helper emotional center between giving and receiving with the root chakra. Okay, and then we have number 86, mystical experience growth level, and number 5, revelations, expansion of consciousness, duality, transcendence, prophecy, mental clarity, universal knowledge, increased understanding, type 5, the observer thinking center between interior and exterior with the throat chakra. And then we have 31 and 4, quest for answers, ego level, meaning of life, understanding the ego, influences of the past, contradictions, emotional balance, nature of suffering, creative introspection, type 4, the individualist emotional center between lack and abundance. And we have 26 and 8, conscious awakening, ego level, in control, uncontrolled anger, authoritarianism, personal justice, conflict tendency, fear of vulnerability, rejection of weakness, type 8, the challenger instinctive center between strength and weakness, with the white, which I connect to the pure self or the authentic self. Okay. And then we have 64 and 1, collective plague stress level, fundamentalism, conservatism, conformism, integrism, tradition, orthodoxy, and academism. Type 1, my goodness, I'm having a hard time reading because my face is very tight. My eyes. Okay, type 1, the perfectionist instinctive center between control and letting go. All right, and then we have, this is like Hierophant energy. Oh my goodness. We have a wild party going on over here. All covered up with this stone. All right, so number 82, integration growth level, 7 and 1. It says pleasure, organization, relaxation, joy, serenity, celebration, high level of ethics. Type 1, the perfectionist instinctive center between control and letting go. The silver here. Okay, I usually rank the silver here as like the lower self, or the self that you're familiar with in the 3D. Okay, not necessarily what you deserve or your highest potential. Okay, so judgment 32 and 5, and we have expectations with 44 and 8. Okay, 44 is a master number. Integrity is a foundation, treating the earth as home and a temple, manifestation and leadership. All right, so then we have assertion. Sun and Aries talk about manifestation and leadership, which 4s are all about the Emperor energy, structure, foundation, stability, and planning. Assertion is also Emperor energy here. Okay, Sun is masculine, Aries is masculine, divine masculine. 1 is all about new beginnings, potential opportunities. Okay, Aquarius energy as well as Virgo, Gemini energy pulling through. I'll get the signs when we tap into the reading so I don't have to repeat it twice. Okay, another 4. Yeah, feeling very strong, masculine, but intuition is pulling through as the feminine, but through masculine embodiment. Okay, which I'll get into when I channel here, but we have Mercury in Cancer with intuition here. Okay, so more Mercury that I was feeling with the Magician energy, which is the ruling planet for Virgo, Gemini, but it pulls through as the 1. Okay, but I am getting strong Pisces energy as well as the Cancer here with that watery energy of the intuition. Beautiful. Yeah. And then we have exhaustion with 9. Okay, so this could be like a 10 wands, but I'm more feeling 9 wands energy than 10. I don't know. I know this is a tarot, what's it called? The Osho Tarot, but I don't know which numbers and cards correspond to what, and I kind of like it this way so I can channel. 9 here for me is 9 wands. This is what I'm feeling here, okay? But it could definitely be very, very, very exhausting here, okay? And then we have adventure, Fool energy coming through with that 1 again, Aquarius energy, okay, but something of the inner child, and this is connecting me back to Sun energy as well. Okay, because the Sun could represent like the inner child, but like being more connected to the joy of the inner child. Alrighty, and then we have turning in. So 4 again, very prominent, but Hermit energy with the turning in. But look at the water again. It's like the Emperor meets watery intuition. Yeah, because watery energy is feminine, but this is embodied through masculine energy. So very interesting. And then I'm also getting 9 swords from all of these like nightmares going on in the background here. So it could be your fears or anxieties. Okay, but look how still this person is here. Okay, beautiful. And then we have 27 with dispute and 9. Okay, Virgo, Cancer energy. Confrontation, villain role, quarrel, breakup, divergency. Make a choice. Type 9, the peacemaker, instinctive center between forgetting and asserting oneself. And we have this right by the solar plexus, which is the only card in the yellow. Let me channel this. You guys can definitely skip ahead. This might take a little bit for me to tap in here. Okay, and we'll get into your reading, beautiful angel. Pile number 1. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Okay, let me channel your reading here. Let's get some signs. Now, please keep in mind, I read for, well, it's general, so a lot of people come through here. Okay, but most of the people that resonate with the types of readings that I do could certainly be on a soul journey of sorts. Okay, and it is generally reflected by another person on our journey, because people are the reason why we come back and incarnate on this planet. Okay, if we're just sort of experiencing our own energy, we don't have a mirror and we don't have catalyzation for growth. This is why we come back to Earth, so that other souls can show us a mirror reflection and we grow. Okay, so this could be an energy you are working with. So it could belong to another. It doesn't have to be your energy. Okay, but I do intend on it being your growth and what you're ready for next. Okay, and if you are working with this person, this energy, however it shows up, okay, it doesn't mean you physically met this person, but it could be an energy in your energy field. Then knowing what's going on here will help you know what's going on with yourself. I hope that made sense. Okay, so let's get some signs out of the way. We have Virgo, Cancer, Leo, Aquarius, Pisces, and Libra, Gemini, Taurus, Sagittarius, and Aries. I don't know if I said Leo, okay? Strong Aries pulling through. So, and Scorpio. So I know that's a lot of signs, but it's in order for me to channel what this reading's about here, okay? So what's going on here? I feel a very strong divine masculine energy pulling through here, and I'm not talking gender so much, okay? I'm talking just energy. And the divine masculine is going through an awakening here, okay? And this awakening is going from current state, which could be very sort of uncomfortable, in finally sort of questioning and seeing oneself from the position of where they're actually at with eyes of truth. Okay, so let me explain this. Although this energy, and I'm reading it this way because I don't know necessarily it's your energy, okay, but I hope I don't change it on you. This energy that I'm reading, this person hasn't been fully sort of transcended, if you will, okay? And I mean, not all of us are fully transcended, so there is a process flow. But I feel like this is an earlier stage of awakening. This person could have been slightly awakened for sure, okay? But there is still a lot of solar plexus energy, mostly because I think it's showing me that this is going through like a divine masculine, okay? And we're cracking through one of the harder egos. Once this sort of last ego, which is really tied to the identity of oneself, okay, gets cracked through, it becomes more like we surrender into the flow of the growth of our spiritual progress. So this is kind of like really giving me the ceiling of where we draw the line below the lower chakras towards graduating to the surrender of the flow in towards the higher chakras within ourself. Okay, and so this person right now, if they resonate with this energy here, this is what they're experiencing, okay? There is a strong identification with one's ability, the ability to control narrative in regards to how they perceive themselves in their world. And a lot has been through tradition, upbringing, and beliefs, their values and their system of how they see themselves. And so this has been triggered or challenged right now through way of conflict. Okay, now this doesn't mean that this person is arguing with you or you're arguing with them, or there's any argument in the 3D. There could be a separation, there could be a breakup, there could be tension. The tension, that's really what it is. There's a tension here because in the internal world is saying, hey, you are hanging on to an idea or a structure that is actually misaligned with your soul's growth. This belief you have of who you are is actually untrue. And so this person could have been in a a spiritual narcolepsy. Their soul, and to set another way, their soul could have been suspended. Their soul could have been involved for some time at a certain level. And now spirit is calling this person out of the space. Who knows how long this person's been in here? Okay, they could have been dormant here for quite some time. They could have just kept graduating to this level of understanding. You know, they could have been semi-awake. So it could be an awakened person or someone who appears to be awakened. Okay, but they are not at a higher level of spiritual consciousness outside of the lower chakras here. And so the max level here of spirituality that comes with solar plexus is, I believe in a greater power, but I also believe that I have the ability to manifest, and the power of the law of attraction and affirmation. And so this is still, towards a spiritual understanding, but it still is under a belief that I am a doer. Okay, right down to maybe just sort of towing the line when it comes to obligations, family obligations. So this person could certainly still be upkeeping some image, some identity that has been sort of carried on by them. And so they've adapted, or what's it called? Yeah, adapted within their identity, a version of themselves that has been sort of learned, given to them, understood by them. And this is where they're at. Okay, so they have an understanding that for some time that they were in control, that they had some moral duty or some understanding of who they had to be in order to be, what is it called? I don't know, delivering some sort of output in the 3D. Okay. And now they're being called to see the truth. And so this comes with a decision, because the decision is now I can see a little bit of myself through the eyes of an observer, and this creates this conflict. Okay, so this person is experiencing internal conflict with their own life, Hierophant, whatever. So this could definitely trigger some form of a dark night of the soul. Okay, but I don't know what the dark night of the soul will look like for this person at all. Okay, because I'm not seeing the dark night of the soul, but I am seeing what is happening throughout this process. This person has to work through an internal understanding of how they tie themselves to an idea. Okay, and this is a first step, because when they sort of transcend past this, they'll realize that there is no tying self to anything, because there is no inner real self. But we must explore the inner self before we come to this realization. Okay, and so this identity that doesn't exist, by the way, but if this person believes they're an identity, it exists in thought. Okay, so play that slowly backwards, because I think that's what I'm trying to say. They have an identity in thought of who they are. And this identity that they believe is real. They really believe this identity is them. And now they're using this identity to sort of explore and look inwards. Okay, but they're still coming from this identity. And consciousness wants to bust this identity. This identity does not exist. Okay, it doesn't exist. But coming from this identity, the eyes of this identity, they're coming and asking themselves questions. And what are they saying? They're saying, what am I doing? What is my purpose? What has been causing me to support these types of hierophants, these sorts of decisions, these sorts of resistances, and these sorts of drives, and these sorts of understandings I've had about myself, specifically because it's been triggered by a conflict in the 3D, because I did say I was going to tie it back to 3D, okay? Because their 3D world is now, there's friction, and they're experiencing this friction from what they're experiencing in the 3D, because it's not satisfying. It's like, I'm not serving a purpose here no more. And so when the 3D starts to reject us, okay, it's not literally rejecting us, but we feel rejected. It's to trigger soul growth so that we can examine the identity we created. This identity I created in this position, in this 3D, is no longer required. My soul is calling for me to now have growth and move to the next phase. And so this comes with a process. And this is what this person's coming in, questioning. How has this been useful to me? Is it still useful? Why was I doing this? What can I do? Where is my soul calling me to do? I want to feel more value. I want to not feel this friction. I want to follow the truth, and I want to have more, embody more truth. Okay, but still coming from the identity. And so this is good. This is a first step, because if we're really curious to wanting to follow in truth and be curious about truth, we're no longer denying, resisting, or asleep. And we're no longer sort of just living in the matrix in an identity, because now we're awakened. We're an awakened identity. Okay, we're not awakened to the identity. I hope this is making sense, because again, spiritual concepts are very ineffable. I cannot explain in words sometimes energy, okay? So, but I don't want to confuse you. This person, especially if you're this person, it might be hard to understand. Or you could finally be seeing through this veil. Okay, this person has an identity. Now this identity, instead of just doing the Hierophant's things, asleep still, okay, the motions, the actions, there's friction, and it's saying, hey, take a look at this. Take a look at your identity. They still think they're this identity, but take a look. Is this the highest truth? Is there more for you? Do you want to follow in greater truth? Do you want to see where you might have been lying to yourself, or where you're unhappy, or where you might have been contributing to a misbelief, or to some other value system structure that might not necessarily be in the highest truth, or in reality when it comes to divine truth or your soul's truth? Because right now you haven't been living your soul's truth. You've been living the Hierophant's truth. So it's an awakening. Okay. And I do feel like this person might have been asleep to choose the ignorance. Okay. And this is the type of pleasure that this person has been enjoying. Okay, but they have an understanding now because of an experience of what true sort of pleasure can feel like or be experienced, because they feel there is a potential on the table. Okay, and it's like to fully experience this experience that I know is a potential for me, it will drive me to question my own truth here. And so this is the friction holding these two things, and only one can sort of be your truth. And I do feel this person's purpose is here for in order to find what is of emotional pleasure, what is to find of joy, what is to find of serenity, what does that mean, and from the highest level. Okay, because we do have they want to expand their consciousness. They're transcending past duality. Okay, but that doesn't mean all of a sudden they're in non-duality in some high level of consciousness. This just means transcending past the identity with more mental clarity. Okay, more mental clarity, but they're still using the mind here because, like I said, they're still an identity. So they haven't transcended the mind so much. Okay, a universal knowing. So now it's tied to a greater, higher truth with an increased understanding. So still not fully transcended past, but it's like now I'm awakened to a higher truth that feels more in line with my soul. Okay, that's a spiritual truth nobody can deny. It comes with an inner knowing. This is the best kind. It's not read in a book. It is felt. This person has felt a greater spiritual truth they cannot unsee. And they are being called to take action here. Okay, and the action here is in regards to opportunity and more drive and make decisions here. This is all triggered by all of these questions and understanding, why do I have this identity and this ego? What has been happening to me? Why are there these two worlds that I could see now? How do I now align myself with more joy and more truth and more clarity, and honor my soul is important here now. And also this friction is getting in the way. I cannot live in suffering, because if we live in the state of friction, we sit in suffering. So does this person have free will? Yes, to resist, as long as they want to resist and sit in suffering and they can drag it out. But can they stop what is happening here? No, they can't stop it with free will. Their soul is now seen and understood and is calling for them to take the next step here. And resistance, avoidance, and numbing could have worked for however long. Okay, I don't know necessarily if this person was numbing or resisting. They could have been, though. Okay, only you will know. But if they were so much in the Hierophant energy and in the identity, they might have not even realized that they were sort of just doing this thing as a ignorance, a coping, a training, and a program. Okay, and now the mind is programmed this way. I create this identity. It kept me safe, and now I know of a greater truth, and now I'm questioning my meaning for life, and now I'm seeing an actual opportunity in front of me that's calling me to action here. But when I get called to action, what does that mean? That means turbulency, because no change happens just sort of, like this easy sort of flow of transition. It comes with the dissolution of certain structures, certain hierophants, certain understandings, certain ways of being. So there was a lot of 4 energy, and I feel like this person has been in the 4 energy for some time. Maybe they've been very comfortable building their world. They could be very successful. They could have built a family, home, structure, some long-term thing, some identity that's been very safe. Okay, but whatever their world is has been comfortable and stable. And now they're being called to stretch, because the soul is calling to stretch outside of this 3D. They're having to do the inner soul work, and this is shifting. Okay, and so when the inner soul work is done, eventually the 3D manifestation catches up. And so this experience here is all going to be happening in the internal world at first, okay, because eventually there will be changes and shifts and decisions, because this is all about this person now having to make a choice for themselves, however long this process takes. It could take, I don't know, it could take months, it could take years. I doubt it. I don't know. I mean, the transition definitely could change their life exponentially over the next few years. But this decision this person is approaching here is one that they know comes with a lot of change. Okay, and so I do feel like this is most likely a karmic point in time where this person was karmically set to experience a shift in their world. Okay, and also to understand their own hierophant and the cause of their own decision making, and lean into surrender because of the fact that if they carry these expectations of who they think they needed to be or why they were doing what they were doing, or all of these reasoning and justifications of why they do what they do, how they live, and all of this stuff has to fall away. They are seeing through this veil. Okay? They're working through seeing through this veil. This is the next stage that this person is doing. And so what comes with this? Spiritual intuition. Okay, but I do feel this isn't necessarily some high level of like mystical transcendence of like, let's say, channeling with the divine, or like third eye intensity, or like real intense spiritual growth. So much as it is spiritual growth for sure. That's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say here, because there is the intuition coming online. That's all I want to say. Okay, so it's intuition that I might have ignored. My intuition is now coming online, which could come with the third eye sort of slowly opening, or me just knowing things or having dreams. Okay, so now this is foreign land for this person in this way, because this is how spirit wakes us up. Spirit is putting this person's intuition online, and now the intuition cannot be silenced because there's this contradiction in their world now. Okay, I do feel like this person could have been on this journey for some time here, because I do feel like to get to this point, they were already in motion, but they might have not have realized. Also, they could have been resisting this sort of ceiling, like I said, because they are at the precipice here of the next sort of break. Okay, and I want to say break, and they're not breaking anything, but it's a 5. It's a breakthrough. It's a, like, we can no longer resist. We got to sort of flow with the next stage here, because when we're in a 9 sort of energy, protecting ourselves and still not fully going into feet, we still haven't made the choice or decided or called judgment. Okay, so they're calling judgment right now. And I feel like this exhaustion is actually the exhaustion of the identity, of the 3D, of the Hierophant, of being unhappy here in some capacity, but not knowing it. So even if this person appeared happy, or like they were stable, or like they were, okay, they were spiritually numb. And the spiritual numbness is creating exhaustion. Okay, and so there also comes anticipation with the anticipation of like this 5 energy, because it's like when we go exploring, it could be, it could come with a bag of emotions for sure, but their inner child has been awakened to an exploration, and they are coming online. They're coming online to with their inner child, what has been calling to them, their inner soul, what purpose is about, and maybe feeling their own internal world for the first time, like chakra system or their ethereal body around them. Like they're not just an identity living in a meat suit here. It's like I could connect, because remember, their intuition's coming online. So they connect to another sort of side of themselves coming online here. And it's giving them a whole new perspective on life, for them to be able to engage differently in life. So how does this manifest in the 3D? We start to see ourselves differently. We start to respond differently. We start to engage differently. We start to see opportunities differently. We start to have more joy, or be pulled towards things that maybe in the past would be too risky because we're too stable or grounded, or choosing the comfort, or choosing what we think is more what we're sort of supposed to do, aligned with the identity that we believe that we were. So this full energy of adventure is like, I'm willing to now follow my inner compass of spirit, heart, and inner child of guidance, okay, which sees things differently, because I can't silence it no more. And so this person is going to be doing a lot of the hermit, okay, but I don't feel like it's going to be a mixture here. This is why I said I don't know how the dark night of the soul is going to look, because I don't think this is like traditional, complete ego death, dark night of the soul, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if it's coming at some point. There are some nightmares that are surfacing here. Okay, but the nightmare is as we know, not real, but these are the inner voices, okay, that are needing to be looked at. And so these are the things that contradict the truth that are within this person's identity. Their stories of Hierophant, their understanding of self, they're maybe telling themselves that they need to do this or they need to do that. There is something here about the checking off and fulfilling a role that wasn't making them happy here, that they didn't maybe realize, or that they told themselves they had to be there. Okay, and so now the fears could be like, I gotta tell my truth, or I gotta maybe let people down. It could be great fears of this. It could be all of the stuff that I might have been suppressing, or truths that I knew inside of me are now having to just be sat with and looked at. And so the intuition here is meeting them where they're at in this energy. And I feel this person is becoming more centered, more intuitive, and more aware of the voices that might not necessarily be truthful and that have been creating suffering in their world. It's like, oh, this is what was creating suffering, or, oh, now I see this a little more clearly, why I was doing that, or why I was doing this, or whose voice that actually was. And there might be some untruths that pop up and they're like, whoa, I see through that now. I see through that now. And so do I want to be aligned with mistruths? No, of course not. Once we see beyond the veil, we don't choose mistruths. It's not like, oh, I just fear change and I'm going to sit behind. It's like, no, when we say fear of change, that would be the identity I created has a misunderstanding or a misconception about how I have to be in order to keep structure. Okay. But underneath it would be a fear, because the fear is, once I call out this Hierophant, once I see a greater truth, it requires me to do certain things. And so that means having tough conversations and exploring the unknown. And, that's scary for anyone. Our whole life could be turned upside down. So this person could certainly be turning their whole number 4 upside down. So I would suspect in the next years to come, this person has exited their timeline. This timeline is over for this person. They are entering a new timeline of their newest self. What this looks like, nobody knows. Okay? But it's very different than what they've been living here, and it's more aligned with their truth, and it's awakening their soul, and they become more intuitive, more centered, and I think they're listening to their emotions, their heart, their desires. It's pulling them in a direction here, okay? And so let's take a look at the tarot to see if we could just add to this, okay, a little bit more. And I do feel this person might become more creative, okay, because I did say I'll tie it back to 3D. So it's like, what do I want to create here in the 3D? I don't want to hold myself back no more. Okay, so this is allowing oneself to love, allowing oneself to follow the childhood dream, allowing oneself to be moved by emotions, and upturning certain things that might have been stagnant and stuck for some time. Okay, and so I do feel like they're really connecting to their higher self, aka through spirit as well. But they're looking up to a higher source now. It's like they're now connected to a higher guidance system. And it's like, now that I'm connected to a higher guidance system, I am being called to take action and to confront the things. Okay, confront, because I cannot unsee. Revelation, judgment, I can't unsee. And now that I see, I'm being called to action, to this new beginning, this new exploration, and to crack the 4s, okay? To crack the 4s here, which is going to take a lot of courage and strength, okay? And this means this person is going to make movement in their life because they have been stagnant. And it's towards their dream or their North Star, their divine purpose. That's where they're headed. Okay, they're headed towards their star, divine purpose. It's also towards more healing the soul, healing themselves. Okay, there's a lot of this beautiful star energy. So we feel Aquarius energy pulling through here, and Leo with the strength, but the Leo as well is like working through that identity, because the identity is still online. But as we go through this, it sort of dissolves, because we're not our identities, or at least it's like knowing this person could definitely fill different sort of roles Okay, it doesn't have to be one role, because that could be just one identity. It could be, but this person could I always have a hard time saying this word. Compartmentalize certain identities for different areas of their life. This is the worker me, this is the family me, this is the lover me, this is the whatever me, this is the I don't know, whatever, the humanitarian me. It's like all these different me's. Okay, and so this could be the emergence of a truer self that is in a one embodied self. Now, is this person fully integrated at the highest capacity towards union with self? Not at this stage. Okay, and I might be going a little bit more off into a higher level of consciousness, but they are expanding their conscious awareness from maybe scattered identities to a more embodied identity, which is in line with a higher version of truth. Okay, so they are expanding consciousness. They are transcending past this friction and this understanding. They're getting more mental clarity aligned with greater truth. And they're facing some of the fears that they might have had. Okay, like I said, fear, it's not, oh, I'm too scared to move. It's like based in a rooted fear of having to confront certain understandings, to challenge themselves and their reality. Because challenging our reality is, when we have ego identity, it's very fragile. You know, we don't want to shatter our identities and our belief. We can have an existential crisis. We can go into a complete midlife crisis. We could all of a sudden go into psychosis. Okay, so what do we have here? We have the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. We have the Tower, exactly. Yeah, Six of Pentacles and the Devil. So we have strong Capricorn energy, Virgo, Taurus. Spirit, what are we missing here for pile number 1 regarding where they're at in their spiritual journey and what they're ready for next here? What are they ready for next? The Four of Pentacles, the King of Cups in reverse, which is Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, 7 Swords. Yeah, and then finally, why is this Devil here? The Lovers. Yes. Okay. Gemini, and then 5 Swords. Under 5 Swords, you have a Hierophant. Exactly what I said here, okay? I always use the tarot after the fact because some of us just connect better with the tarot here, but it also gives me a good level of understanding whether I read the oracles correct. But I know my readings are very long, and I don't know if I'm going to be making changes to this whole thing because I'm getting very tired of these long readings. But anyway, it's neither here nor there. What's happening here? Hierophant, exactly what we talked about. Four Pentacles, exactly what we talked about. The Devil was exactly what we talked about, and the Lovers. So what does this all mean? This means I have an identity, I have a Hierophant, a way of believing that has been ingrained in me because it's been handed to me through family, society, culture, dogmas, beliefs, a way of being. It's being turned inside out because there's friction and conflict now. It's conflicting with something. What is it conflicting with exactly? My soul's growth. I'm now being called to a person, place, or thing that my soul needs. It's my destined partner. It's my destined plan. It's my destined path. Whatever this destined path is, I haven't been following it. I've been chained to the devil. I've been chained to this way of being. I was in the narcolepsy of the soul. I was hung up by something here, which was shadow, which was ego, which was fears, which was whatever the devil represents here. And so this devil was very much alive and was creating this Four of Pentacles. Now, does this mean this person was stuck in addictions and toxic relationships and karmic toxic people and blah, blah, blah? Yes, could be, but it could be their life was completely just stable and normal. Whatever it was, that was the devil, because they were too comfortable in that position, or even if they were uncomfortable because they were wrapped up in like karmic cycles, it was karmically holding them back, whatever this was, and they couldn't see that they had a choice. They couldn't see that they could break free from this devil. They couldn't see the truth. And so they were stuck here because this was the devil that they did know. The devil they know is now shattering. Because why? Because their heart was closed. Okay, their heart, like I said, the intuition, the inner child, the soul calling. Okay, this is giving me the soul was calling for this person to live life, to move beyond identity, to come alive here. This was stunted. So they were emotionally incapable of fulfilling themselves. Okay, joy, bliss, and just follow this. And so they were living as an identity that was misaligned with truth. And so they had to upkeep the space, and not out of like anyone telling them, but out of an ignorance or out of a belief, or maybe to keep themselves sort of secure and safe. This is shattering their identity, because this person is now being called to break free from this understanding. Okay, so they're being called to invest in the practical world in a different way than how they've been invested. And so it's spiritual, but it's also how's it manifest in their 3D. It's because their 3D is telling them, stop investing in areas that aren't progressing your truest direction and your purpose here. That's a lie. And they can't unsee this lie. This lie to self, if they continue doing it, will bring unhappiness, will bring disappointments. They'll blatantly see that I'm not following my heart. And it's not even about seeing it and having a choice. The soul will not allow this person to stay. In fact, they can't stay. They can't unsee. They're having judgment and revelation. I can't unsee. I must move. I don't know how, maybe. I don't know exactly all the whys, but I feel the pull, and I feel the suppression, and I feel the I'm looking at myself now from the position of where I could see where I was maybe stuck, or where I was maybe dependent, or where the 3D world had a grip on my soul. And we know that the soul has higher rank than a 3D body and soul. And so if I thought I had to stay in this hometown, or this household, or in this marriage, or in this job, or in this practical thing here, and that it had control over me, the lie is now broken. It does not have control over me. Nothing has control over my soul, and my soul is craving here to walk its path. And anything that is not aligned with it, it would be a big fat lie. And I am not lying to my soul. Who would? We can't. There is no choice here. It creates conflict and suffering in the 3D and in the internal body. And so I must challenge my Hierophant now. I'm challenging my Hierophant now, even if this means, people are going to be threatened, or this whole situation might not go good for some time. I might have to learn through doing and saying and challenging myself, and maybe I'll go about it in a way that might not necessarily be spiritual or in the highest way, but I have to deal with this. And so maybe I'm argumentative, maybe I'm questioning people, maybe I'm but it's all for the greater good, because where's this person's real intention? It's like, I got to get on the path of the lovers. So if there's things in my way, people in my way, Hierophants in my way, I'm going to challenge it. And I think this person isn't going to quite know how to do it. So they might do certain things. They might get, agitated with themselves, or they might say certain things or do certain things. But it's all an attempt to get out of this devilly 4 energy and question this Hierophant. So they have good intention, but it might not manifest in the greatest way, because this person is being called to manifest in their world in a more authentic way than how they have been, because how they have been has been holding them back. It's time for change. Okay, so we have Taurus, Capricorn, Gemini, and Virgo, Taurus, and Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. So this is your reading, pile number 1. I hope this made sense, and I will see you at the next one. Bye-bye. Pile number 2, you guys picked the purple marker. Beautiful purple is connected to the third eye. Okay, and I also connect the purple with the crown chakra as well, so the higher chakras. So let's take a look. Now, we'll do the oracles here first, okay? And I do suggest you sit through this card layout so you can develop your intuition. Okay, that's the best way to do this. But if you're wanting to go straight away to, oops, there's a card here that doesn't belong. If you want to go straight away to your channeled message, you can go ahead, okay? But I do suggest that you listen to or sit through the card layout if you're developing your intuition, so that you can definitely connect with the energy that it is indeed your messaging. Okay, so let's ask Spirit, clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good for pile number 1. Oh my goodness, sorry. Pile 2. Where are they headed spiritually? What is in store here for their next leg of the journey? What are they working their way out of, and working their way towards here? What are they entering here spiritually in their journey? Clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good of pile 2. Pile 2, thank you so much for allowing me to tap into your energy, the energy around you at this time. I'm so blessed to be here, and can't wait to take a look at what Spirit wants to communicate to you. We've got lots of those cards. Clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good of pile number 2. What is the next leg of their journey? What are they ready for here spiritually? And how will this manifest in the 3D for them? What are they coming into spiritually, and how will this manifest for them? Clear and concise message. Please protect me and the viewer as I channel this message for the greatest and highest good of pile number 2. So we have self-negligence showing up. Clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good of pile number 2. What next stage will this person be entering in regards to this journey? And what are they exiting? How will this manifest changes in their 3D or in their spiritual world? Exactly. Last deck, and then we will go through your cards. Beautiful angel, pile number 2, regarding their next leg of this journey. What are they entering exactly, and what are they coming out of? Okay. Maybe I will leave these here. Just kind of distract me while I'm trying to read, but okay. Let's take a look. So the only card that revealed itself was Conscious Awakening 20, self-negligence, relationship dependency, fear of abandonment, exhaustion, fear of rejection, compulsion to rescue, unbalanced relationships, type 2, the helper emotional center between giving and receiving with the root chakra. And then we have suffering, 25, avoidance, ego level, emotional pain, frustration, sadness, boredom, limitations, restrictions, 7, type 7, the enthusiast thinking center between pleasure and pain, heart chakra. And then we have the solar plexus, 3. Okay, compulsion, ideal, ego level, success, accomplishment, prosperity, fame, glory, victory, achievement. Type 3, the achiever, emotional center between appearance and authenticity. And then, oh my goodness, look at all these chakras. 94 and 4. Virtue, ego level, equanimity, depth of feelings, detachment, calmness, sensitivity, stabilized mood, emotional mastery. Type 4, the individualist, emotional center between lack and abundance. And, oh my goodness, 107 and 8, essence, growth level, truth, straightness, trustworthy, lawful, reality, objectivity, compassion. Type 8, the challenger, instinctive center between strength and weakness. And this is the shadow self. And then we have more of this third eye / crown chakra energy with the purple. Okay, so 13, feeling unidentified, misunderstood, insensitive, unseen, annoying, unimportant, unrecognized. Type 4, individualist, emotional center between lack and abundance with basic fear, ego level. 13 is this Pluto energy with the shadow. And then we have 12 and 3, true identity, personal achievement, being versus appearing, authenticity, self-awareness, personal values, emotional deepness, type 3, the achiever, emotional center between appearing and authenticity, inner call. Yes. Okay. And then we have desperation with 35, or number 8. And then we have enabling 65 and 11. And then we have 57 and 3 with egos, pitfall, stress level, materialism, desire to be admired, cult of the image, falsehood, superficiality, self-aggrandizement, spiritual competition. Type 3, the achiever, emotional center between appearing and authenticity. Okie dokie. And then we have innovation. And this is Jupiter with Aquarius, number 11. 11 is a master number, divine inspiration, synchronicity, and the encouragement to keep going. And then we have number 5, Mars in Leo, egotism. A lot of the solar plexus energy. Okay, with this rooster, divine masculine. Mars is a ruling planet for Aries Scorpio. And then we have revenge 8, and more Mars and Scorpio this time. Okay, so 8 is Leo energy and also Aquarius, but I'm feeling strong divine masculine from the Mars. And then we have experiencing, number 3. And we have clinging to the past with the number 5. I am going to read it as it came out because I am feeling it's exactly like that. And then conditioning. Yeah, and this is number 15, which is devil energy, although I am seeing the lion, and for me it's signifying ego. Okay, so just let me sit here with this energy and we'll channel what this is, and we will get into what this is. Oof. Okay. Okay, pile number 2. Wow, there's lots going on here spiritually, a lot. Okay, I think I'm seeing a lot of what you're have been working through, and it's a lot sort of being outlined here for me, and a little bit is showing me where it's sort of leading to. And I know this reading's about where is it sort of leading you to next, but I think you'd probably want to know, for one, when's this gonna end? You know, that sort of energy, because I do feel like there's a lot going on in different areas here. And so what's happening? Either you're recently closing this out or you're coming to close this out. And this is what Spirit is showing here. You have been doing a lot of opening the heart chakra, working through abandonment wounds, working through shadow, seeing your own ego, tying it into spiritual realms here, you know. A lot of you guys have experienced a lot of transition, a lot of maybe psychic phenomenon even here. Okay, there it is showing up. Sorry, let me go back because I missed my spiel. 1, this could be your energy, someone's energy of someone you're dealing with. Okay, it doesn't have to be tied to you, but if you're tied to this energy somehow, then this could influence your progression spiritually, okay, and how it manifests in the 3D, because that's what we're asking. How is your 3D going to be impacted by all of this spiritual growth and this journey? If you're tied to this energy, then obviously your 3D will shift, okay? So this doesn't have to be you, even though I'm calling it you. Apply it accordingly, okay? Now, signs. We have High Priestess energy. So Pisces and Libra, Cancer, Leo, Aquarius, Taurus, Libra, heavy divine feminine, and some divine masculine balancing here. Okay, we have Aries and Scorpio. And we have, yeah, Leo, Aries, Scorpio. But I do feel divine feminine energy with a lot of Venus here, Taurus, Libra as well. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So now let me go back. So there's your practical world coming through here. If this, of course, is your energy. And it is how the mirror of this 3D world has been reflected back to you. I think you've been in a state of suffering. Okay. In a state of suffering. And, we don't understand the suffering here, if we don't understand the terminology of how I use this. Okay, some of us could definitely be, yes, I was suffering because I could feel the pain or whatever. This is a deep suffering. It's like an existential suffering, okay, because the heart is having to come online. And when the heart comes online, we experience a mirror that shows us the opposite. Because remember, the laws of polarity. When we need to see one side of ourselves, we experience the opposite. So if I do not know what it is to fully connect to self-love and fully appreciate myself and understand myself, I am put in situations that create a fear of abandonment, that might be imbalanced, that may create all sorts of things within me in order for me to go through a journey that catalyzes me to see my own way that I engage with self. This is all about how I engage with self and what I've come to realize at the end of the day. How I neglect myself, where I might be limiting boundaries, where I might do and say certain things in order for me to be achieving certain outcomes, expectations, or for me to get to the outside world to reflect back to me something that I need in order for me to be validated when this isn't true. The outside world is now reflecting a journey of go within and see a greater truth, which means I got to start peeling back my own shadows, my own stories of how I relate with myself. And so when I engage in certain ways, I come to realize the truth of what's actually going on within me. And so I see beyond my egos. So this person could have certainly been tied to their egoic 3D world, however this manifested. I'm really attached to this person, place, or thing. This person, place, or thing is going to show me my value, and I will do whatever it sort of takes here in the 3D world to prove to myself something. And so I'm going about it in a certain way until it snaps and I see beyond the illusion, because I can only do this for an amount of time of suffering because it's imbalanced, and the material world can never reflect back to me my truest essence and the deepest truth. Why? Because the 3D world is just form. Form comes and goes, comes and goes. Spirit is showing this person, do not peg your truth, the ultimate truth of who you are, to form, to a person, place, or thing outside of you. Do not do it. Why? Because this form is ever changing, and your value doesn't waver. It's not ever changing. Your value is consistent, just like the divine creator. It has no end and no beginning. Your essence has always been. Okay, behind your form is your essence. Your essence has nothing to do with form. And so whatever is out there, person, place, or thing that isn't showing up, that isn't giving you your value, that is doing this or doing that, going left, going right, not showing up, whatever it's doing, has nothing to do with your innate value. So you're seeing this truth and this objective reality. The objective reality is, whoa, I sit in suffering when I try to attach myself to form, when I try to get this outside world, person, place, or thing, or my 3D world to show me something, and I keep trying to scratch that itch, however I do it. I need 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 it. Because I hurt inside. What is hurting inside? A greater truth. There's a shadow here that I must look at. There's an ego identity that I must shatter. There's a greater spiritual truth coming online. Something that transcends material attachment. And this is the truer self coming online. And this is one of being. And this is one of truth, a higher level of authentic truth that goes beyond form, that goes beyond ego, that comes online, and it has emotional deepness with it. And so throughout this process of this journey, this person has been emotionally going through the depths of their shadow, which could have been very turbulent, shattering abandonment wounds and beliefs, shattering ideas of self, going through what they value and how they see themselves and what they commit to and how they respond in the 3D world, and then internalizing, reviewing, being the observer of the truer self. And so they've done the emotional depthness. And so what's coming online here is emotional mastery, is a stabilized mood, is an ability to understand one's own feelings, go through the depths of feeling of love, feeling of understanding, compassion of other, and see self in other, but not in form, but seeing the essence of themselves and then witnessing and observing it in other. Okay, so this opens our heart. We're more compassionate. It's like, I see my truest self in other rather than in the form. I need to validate a part of my inner world. Okay, those are different ways of engagement, and they're different levels of consciousness. And this person's shift here is now understanding when I am just being with my level of consciousness and my truest self comes online, I could be more present and engaged in the moment. Because my old way whatever I was doing was enabling suffering, was enabling the story of the ego. It was consistently enabling the story of the ego. How can I attach to this thing? How could this person, place, or thing finally show to me my value? It's like, no, that enables the suffering. We're no longer in that mindset. We've raised above this mindset. Okay, we had to come above this mindset in order to be present in the moment. Yes, uncomfortable. Yes, seeing beyond the veil. Yes, sitting with the shadow and the untruths and having to shine their light of awareness. This is untrue. And so this person is actually finally experiencing and being in the moment, okay, with their truer self online, which requires them to be more vulnerable, requires them to be ready to face whatever the universe is showing to them. It's like, when I'm just being here, what is the universe showing to me? And so we're actually present for the first time without the ego coming online, the story or the narrative of wanting the 3D world to be like this or to do that or to respond this way. It's like, I'm no longer manipulating 3D world. So now, because I'm not manipulating it and I'm not perceiving it from the shadow or the trauma, I'm now perceiving it from the objective eyes of truth. I'm now the observer. I'm now the witness, and I'm now present. Now we see the truth of our situation. So this person is now seeing the truth in the present moment for the first time. Whether they believe it, see it, or understand it at this point, okay, I'm not sure, but they are observing what's actually happening. And what happens when we observe? What happens? We are conscious. We make different choices. Certain situations unfold differently. Because when we're engaged in the 3D, but we're acting from the veil of egos, past stories, narratives, trying to force, coerce, attach, and manipulating energy, we're never living in the present moment. The only thing that exists is this present moment. The past is never anything that we can do right here, right now. And the future will always be a state we cannot enter, ever. The only thing that we can ever be is in the present moment of what is. And so if we are at all injecting traumas, stories, narratives, identities into this present moment, we know we're living in false light. Because the past is not here. Only what's here is here. And so this person is experiencing what's here. Okay, I do feel like this person, it does feel like divine feminine energy, because I do feel this is all about opening one's heart space to seeing one's own value, giving and receiving from a flow state here of divine feminine energy. Okay. But I do feel there is a balance of masculine, feminine energy, because I do feel like this person has had to do a lot of shadow work, a lot of work in the lower chakras. Okay, we see the root, we see the solar plexus, and then we see the center of it all, which is the heart chakra. And then we see the spiritual chakras here with the purple. And then I feel like there is this balancing of the masculine and feminine. We're seeing the 4s and the 3s. Okay, and 3s, like I say, is the divine feminine energy. And so I feel like this energy is becoming more in tune with their masculine and feminine, and their emotions are being more mastered, and their understanding of self. Okay, and so when they do this, they feel more seen, because when we can see other, we see self more clearly. When we value other and when we're able to fully be present, that is when we're fully seen. This is how it works. Okay, and so if we could fully be present, we could fully love and accept the truth and the reality as it is. That means we could be loved and seen and appreciated truly for how we are. If we're engaged running around with egos, traumas, shadows, projections, narrative, and past insights with this veil, we are blocking and creating a separation from ourselves to that in which we're wanting to connect to. Spirit put a block here on purpose in regards, it's not really a block so much as it is a reflection of, you cannot pass go, you cannot collect $200, you must deal with this thing. This is why the universe has been reflecting back to you unjust situation, or a lopsided situation, or an imbalanced relationship, or a falsehood here that didn't reflect the truth to you. And it was felt in your soul. It rocked your soul. It required you to dig in deep. Okay, really deep here, because there was a need, like we need oxygen to get out of suffering, a need to heal this wound. And so now we're in the present moment. And now we could see situations. Okay, and so I feel like this person has really exited hierophants, which is beliefs and structures and identities that have been handed down through generations, through culture, through social belief systems. Okay, they also had to transcend past their egos, which means a lot of their identity and their false self and stories and beliefs and how they were engaged with relationship. I do feel, okay, we're in relationship with everyone and everything. So in relationship to job, in relationship to their lovers, in relationship to partnerships, relationships with people. They had to transcend past ego, or have an ego death, I should say, or shed that ego. Okay, or integrate that ego, or see through that ego, however they did it. Some gets transcended, some gets integrated, and some just, they see beyond. We have many, many, many fine egos and big egos. Okay, and we're always sort of working through this. And we don't just sort of sometimes get rid of it all and never see it again, because sometimes the ego still is persistent, but we see through it. We see through the ego that was connected to the past, the story that would creep in here that would tell me a narrative. I see that ego, and now I'm in cooperation with the universe to move beyond that ego. Okay, and so I feel like there is a challenging energy here that this person is still dealing with here, with this egotism and this revenge. Okay, and so challenging is definitely a part of their internal world. And when their internal world is adding to the chaos of their present moment, they can't see the present moment to work with the present moment, because they're too blind and too challenged to see the truth. And now that they're coming online, what they're going to see is the truth of their situation, so that they can engage in a new way with this innovation. Okay, and so it means they have more ability to manifest and consciously make decisions in the present moment that will change this situation with this person, place, or thing. So if they're dealing with another person who is high in ego, where there has been imbalance, where there has been struggle, where there has been a battle or a contradiction, or a polarity of opinions, or someone, highly in ego, it's like, by this person being like this, there is now coming online differently in regards to dealing with someone who has been in an egoic, defensive sort of energy, creating conflict. Okay, so it's kind of like this first step in dealing with this thing. Now, does this make all the annoying people who are in ego and challenge disappear? No, not at all. But having this awareness doesn't mean the outside world now all of a sudden loses its ego, loses its veil. This means I can now accept and see people in a different way, even if nothing's changed in that person, place, or thing. Because that person, place, or thing I now see is on their journey. It is no longer about me. I am no longer taking it personal. I am no longer trying to force said person, place, or thing to do anything other than be wherever it's at. But I could see it and I can engage with it. And now I'm present and conscious. I could say and do, because I'm aware and I'm being, and I'm being in this experience. I'm not trying to coerce the experience. I'm not trying to disassociate into my past experience into this present moment. And that makes a world of a difference. And so I do feel like there will be a change or a shift here in how the dynamic works, this person and their 3D world, because their 3D world is challenging right now. Okay. And I do feel it's with another person. And it's like allowing another lifeline for there to come online, for there to be change, for there to be growth, for there to be movement, for there to be seeing beyond challenge, for there to be actually present. Because what happens when we're present? We can love. When we're present, our presence is the greatest gift of acceptance and love that we can do. Love meaning I am open. I am not judging. I could see beyond the veil. I could see beyond the ego. I could see beyond the suffering and one's behaviors to see their truest essence. Why? Because I could see my own. If I do not see my own essence, if I do not connect to my own heart, I cannot connect to other. And so this is stabilizing. This energy is stabilizing in an energy of I could sit in my true self and in awareness and being and present with challenge. And we'll see where it goes. That's what this energy is giving off here. Okay, so let's see. Spirit, clear and concise message for pile number 2 in regards to their spiritual growth. What are they ready for next? And how will that manifest in the 3D? What are they entering next here in regards to soul growth and 3D manifestation of this soul growth? How will this manifest in the 3D? I feel I need to clear these cards again. Clear and concise message for beautiful pile number 3 regarding their soul growth and 3D manifestation. That fell in my lap. Wow, look at that. Truth, exactly, right? Over top of this true identity. Truth. Okay? So there's nothing more powerful than truth. Why? Truth is synonymous with God. This one's speaking to me too. Truth is synonymous with love. When we're in line with the greatest truth, we're in line with love. Like true love, unconditional love, not transactional love, not fear-based love, but actual clear love. Truth, love, God, all synonymous, okay? So this is a new beginning in truth and clarity. And like I said, what are they entering? What is this practical thing? What is shifting? The shift happened internally. So now that I see my truest essence and nature, my true identity is coming online. I am now able to just be, and now I'm able to see clearly. I could see through what I wasn't seeing before. I was injecting said situations, personal relationships with worries and woes of the past fears, past abandonment, past life wounding, shadows, understandings that I had that I needed to do this, or I needed to be that, or I needed to have this, or I needed this or that. No. Okay, so let's take a look at pile number 2. So we have the Sword of Truth, Emperor, beautiful. So that's all these 4s we were feeling, divine masculine energy plus the Mars. Okay, so we have a divine masculine over here. Okay, which definitely could be who this person is dealing with. Again, I'm not talking gender. Okay, but it could be somebody who's in their divine masculine energy. But also, I do feel like this person is coming into truth for their own clarity, of their own empowerment, their own agency, their own ability to, like I said, because we're feeling a lot of 3s, which were divine feminine. Okay, because this person is soft, is in heart space, but also can be in their masculine. There is a balance here, a beautiful balance. So what actions can they take? Where do they have ability to influence their 3D world, to speak their truth, to walk and talk their truth, to say and do certain things, not coming from the ego or the identity or the wound or the past, but from a true place of empowerment. Okay, to do the right thing, like this Emperor would. It's a beautiful energy, Aries. Okay, Page of Wands in reverse, 2 of Pentacles, the Page of Cups, the 3 of Swords, the Queen of Swords, and I'm going to pull one more for the 2 of Pentacles. So we have Aries and we have Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Why is this 2 Pentacles, Lovers in the sideways position, and the 3 Pentacles, Gemini energy right here? Okay, and then bottom of the deck, we have the Magician and 5 of Cups in reverse. Okay, Virgo, Gemini. And what's the 5 of Cups and the Ace of Wands? Look at the aces here. Okay, Ace of Wands. So this is a very clear message here. Pile number 2. If you resonate with this being your energy, okay, you can flip it, but I'm going to read it one way here, just so I can make this reading short. But you flip it how you see fit. You are coming into clarity of your own empowerment so that you can make conscious decisions, so you can become a conscious manifester. Everyone manifests. Whether we're aware we're manifesting or not, we can manifest suffering, we can manifest all sorts of things. Even if we're delusional, even if we're traumatized, even if we haven't done any healing, we manifest from our energy and our vibration. So guess what? When we're clear, when we work through trauma, when we see a greater truth, when we're connected to the essence of self, when we can connect to our heart, we are so conscious. We're no longer transactionally manifesting out of fears and need for control and past situations that left me feeling disappointed and heartbroken. So when we are heartbroken, disappointed, and suffering, we start manifesting more of this energy. This is why it's important to heal beyond disappointments and suffering so that we can become master manifestors. You're becoming a conscious manifester. You've done some serious work on your shadow work to heal a lot of wounds here. And so now you might be in a situation here where you're dealing with someone who might not have been as awakened. Maybe someone who was triggering you. Maybe someone here who was needing to be seen through truthfully as they clearly are. Okay, I feel like your life path is present to you, and your life path could have been stunted here. Why? Because your life path would require a conscious decision in truth. You cannot go down a destined path until you reach certain level of graduation of spiritual work. Your spiritual work required you to see beyond the illusion, beyond the identity, beyond the veil, for you to embrace a form of truth. Where does your power lie? How conscious are you? What decisions can you make? Can you heal your broken heart or your stories about victimization and disappointments and separation and heartache? Is your heart truly open? Are you loving from a place of true compassion, true vulnerability, from the innocent heart space? Then we'll let you explore. And so your exploration of your divine purpose has been blocked here. Okay, not because Spirit hates you, not because you are just horrible, but because Spirit says, in order for you to go to the next level, you must understand this intellectually, understand it spiritually, so that when you are in the 3D world, you can make different choices, decisions that are from a conscious place of wisdom, wisdom of the heart, wisdom of the mind, that are now integrated together. Okay, so what you say and do is now coming from this transformed place. We're not just saying and doing from a sleepy place or from a hurt place or from the wounded self or from the disappointed self. Because we've learned. The Queen of Swords is all about learning. And so I think you're learning about your own power, power to speak your truth, power to have the boundary if you need, power to, and wisdom to do the right thing, to be present because you've learned the lesson. And now this experience opens up. You're going to have conscious choice. And this conscious choice is going to lead to a working with the other. Okay, because now that you're conscious, Spirit says this path will open. Your destiny is opening up here. Person, place, or thing will open up. It will be available for you to work in the 3D. The choice is yours. Okay, now whether this person particularly is going to be the other pentacle here, they also have to work through whatever egos so that they could become another pentacle consciously, because this is conscious. This is conscious manifestation. And you're conscious manifesting, and whoever is coming into your world is going to be a conscious manifestor too. Whether it's this person or not, I don't know. I can't tell you that. But what I do know is that it is your destined path. So if it wasn't supposed to be this person, then it's not this person. If it is this person, then guess what? This person has to do whatever to become conscious to be this other pentacle in order for you guys to walk your truthful lover's path here. Okay? And so this is all about conscious choice. And Spirit is saying, now you're aware, now you're present, now you're conscious. This is what you're entering. And so if you're still wobbly here, then you will see the great truth. You will see beyond your ego and your shadow and your pain and suffering and your disappointments of the past and whatever stories you told yourself. Because I think you were shown a disappointment, a hurt, a breakup, a loss, and you internalize this as equating it to your value or your inability to move beyond with a greater understanding of truth, the truth of God, that you are above any experience. Your experiences don't dictate the truth of your innate value. Your innate value is your essence. And this lifetime, however it manifests, okay? And I say manifest like this because it is form that comes into existence and out of existence. The body is finite, okay? But the soul is infinite. And so when the finite body or the finite experience or the finite relationship or the finite engagement ceases to exist, it no longer is in present form of manifestation. Do you cease to exist? No. you're still in existence. You're infinite, like the divine creator. Your essence is untapped here. And so that essence must remain integral, must remain in line with truth and clarity. So once you start believing that you're your body, you're your disappointment, you're your fears, you're your losses, you're your heartbreak, you're separate from the divine creator, that's not a truth. You're not separate from the divine creator. You cannot separate from your divine essence. You might be ignorant of that. You might not see it. And that's the shadow and the experience and the pain. But that's what you're cracking through. I now see a greater truth. Who I am. The truth of who I am now allows me to engage differently in the present moment. Conscious decisions that are in front of me. Conscious relationships. Conscious creation. And you're creating something beautiful here. An enterprise. A foundation to the future, whatever this is, a business, a relationship, a family, something solid in the 3D. Okay, beautiful angel, this is your reading. I love you so much. I'm so honored to do your reading. I hope this helped you guys. I don't know if I said the signs. I'll say it again just in case. Virgo, Gemini. Strong Gemini here. And Libra, Aquarius, Aries, and Gemini. Yeah, strong Gemini. All right, I hope this helped you. I'll see you at the next one. Bye-bye. Gorgeous angel pile number 3. You guys pick the green marker, which is my favorite because it's the heart chakra. So we'll see what your reading has, but green definitely represents the heart chakra. So let's take a look at the energy here, okay? And we're really looking at what are you ready for next when it comes to your spiritual growth, the spiritual journey, okay, that you're entering here. Based on where you're coming out of spiritually, okay? And how does this manifest itself in the 3D? So how is your journey manifesting in the 3D now? What stage are you ready for now? Okay, and so we're gonna get an idea of where you're coming out of or what you're sort of exiting and where you're entering so that we can tie the spiritual to the 3D manifestation. I hope that makes sense. You guys can skip ahead if you don't want to sit through this process, although I do suggest if you are developing your intuition to sit through this. This is the best way for you to tie into your intuition if this is your pile, okay? So Spirit, clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good of pile number 3. What is it, or what are they ready for when it comes to the spiritual growth in their journey? And how will this manifest in the 3D for them? What are they coming out of? Exactly. And what is next for them in the spiritual growth, and how is that manifesting in their 3D? Clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good of pile number 3. Please protect me and the viewer and their journey as I channel this message for the greatest and highest good of pile 3. Thank you so much, pile 3, for allowing me to tap into your energy, the energy around you at this time. I'm so blessed to be here doing your reading. Please help me to channel in a way that pile 3 will understand what is being communicated. Is there another one, Spirit? Yes. Clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good. Interesting. I'm second guessing everything here. Maybe you're second guessing. Are you second guessing following your heart? It's like hesitancy. Too fearful that I might choose the wrong one, which rarely happens to me when I channel. Clear and concise message for pile number 3. What are they ready for next year when it comes to their spiritual growth? What phase are they entering spiritually, and how is this manifesting in their 3D spirits? Clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good of pile number 3. Okay, move that out of my way. And let's take a look. So, despair, oh my goodness, 76 and 4, dark night of the soul. My goodness, stress level, despair, emotional disconnection, loss of meaning, sorrow, overwhelm, dark visions, deep melancholia. Type 4, the individualist, emotional center between lack and abundance. Faith ordeal, oh my goodness, 78, dark night of the soul, oh my goodness. Okay, stress level, faith ordeal. Dissolution about loyalty, confusion and instability, loss of trust, loss of meaning, my goodness, existential doubts, extreme indecision. Yeah, that's how I felt when I was shuffling these cards, you guys. overwhelming anxiety. Type 6, the loyalist, thinking center between mistrust and trust. Here we have the purple, which is giving me the third eye. Okay, but the gold gives me higher self. And here we have Jesus Christ. So Christ consciousness. Okay. And then we have 66, betrayal. Oh my goodness. Initiatory ordeal, stress level. Altered exterior image. Falsehood and lies. Failure, humiliation, social decline, career inactivity. Type 3, the achiever, emotional center between appearing and authenticity with the number 3. I will get into the signs when I do the reading, so I don't have to repeat myself, but 66 is a master number. Service is a source of joy in which one pours from an overflowing cup, not martyrdom. That's what the 66 is for. Okay, or about when I channel. Submission. 17 and 8, powerlessness, enslavement, fragility, weakness, subjugation, dependency. Type 8, the challenger, instinctive center between strength and weakness. Basic, fear, ego level. Okay, and then we have perfectionism, 37 and 1. Fixation, ego level. It says requirement, procedure, serious, severity, precision, having a unique vision. Type 1, the perfectionist, instinctive center between control and letting go. And then we have anger. My goodness. Aggressiveness, irritability, judgment, criticism, bitterness, conviction. Type 1, the perfectionist, instinctive center between control and letting go. Okie dokie. And then we have strength, compulsion, ideal, number 8, ego level, straight talk, vitality, fight, power, control, and courage. Type 8, the challenger, instinctive center between strength and weakness. The pure self here with the white. Okay, let's keep going. So we have 12 with loss. Saturn in Aquarius. No, not Aquarius. Sorry. Pisces. Okay, Saturn in Pisces. Sorry, I had a brain fart there. Yeah, 12 is Pisces, hangman, loss. Here we have Scorpio energy with the crow. And then we have flirtation. And this is a Mars in Sagittarius. And it's the number 9. And then we also have status. And this is Jupiter in Taurus with the number 2. 2 talks about duality, choices, balance. Okay, we're seeing the duality here in the two people. Okay, and then we have guilt, number 8. I'm going to read it as it sort of plays out here. 88 is a master number, a higher calling that is grounded in self-awareness and reverence for life. Okay, 8s are all about movement, change, attainment, authority, manifestation, leadership, abundance, and goals. We did have something here about goals, or it was, career and activity. So it's like I need to have some more ambition come online, potentially some drive here. Okay, and then we have new vision. This is hangman energy, hangman in reverse. Yeah, Pisces, Leo. Okay, and then we have aloneness, hermit energy, but it's coming through more like separation here than it is coming through as deep reflection. Okay, and then we have gaslighting, 69. Interesting. And then we have upset with 77, and that is a master number as a trust, the fall and adventure that arises from deep wisdom, trust of life, trust of self, but also this is 14, and 14 is temperance, which is all about healing and balance. Okay, give me a minute here to sit with this heavy energy, and you can go click on the channeled reading. I gotta do something here. I'm not sure how to do it. Yeah, I'm gonna do it like this, and then I'll sit with this energy. Pile number 3, let me get some signs out of the way here, okay? Like I always say, it could be your energy or energy of someone you're dealing with that is tied to your soul growth, your spiritual growth. We don't come here, incarnate here to be vacuums, not learning anything because we're isolated. we have people in relationship that show mirrors to us so that we can grow as humans soulfully. That's what we're here to do. Okay. And so if you're engaged with someone that could be pulling through as energy, it's a part of your soul growth. And this could be that person's energy, or it could be yours. Don't attribute it to how I'm saying it. Okay. But be open, because I feel like sometimes we don't know when it's our own energy. And I feel like this energy is challenging here. Okay. And so we might not know that we're our biggest challenge, and we might say it's them. And this is the type of energy, say it's them. It's them. It's not me. Okay. It might be you. It might be you. Just really always keep asking yourself, is this me? And we might say, no, it's not. That's them. No. Let's just keep looking. Okay. The one who is thinking, is this me? Could this be me? This might be me. That probably isn't your reading. If we're saying, no, it's them, then this is your reading. 100%. It's not them, it's you. Stick it to this reading. Okay. So that you can understand what's going on here. Okay. There is Aries, Scorpio, Gemini, Capricorn, Taurus, Libra. Virgo, Gemini, Pisces, and Taurus, Sagittarius. Okay, so that's the energy of this reading. Doesn't have to be your sun, moon, rising, or heavy in your chart so much, although it could be. Okay, it definitely could be, but it's coming through as this reading. So what's going on with this person? This person is going through a very deep, dark night of the soul, okay? And what we're doing is we want to see, like, what are they experiencing so that we know what they're entering next. Essentially, that was my whole purpose of this reading. I feel like this person is going to enter a stage of the dark night of the soul. Okay, I don't feel this person is quite immersed in the dark night of the soul just yet. And so that's kind of scary, because dark nights of the soul could be quite intense. Okay, this isn't to scare anyone at all. But what's happening in this energy? This is somebody who had an experience and they did not like their experience. They're challenged by their experience now, and they see their experience. And so we go through all the stages when we have an experience we don't like to try to talk our way out of it, negotiate our way out of it, ignore our way out of it, get angry about it, defensive about it, blame other people about it, avoid it, resist it, say all sorts of stories about it. It's them. It's not me. No, I don't see it. I don't want to 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 see it, because I experienced pain and suffering at one point. And so I'm trying to do everything I can here by lying, avoiding, stealing, and whatever I can do. Okay. However, I was doing it. It doesn't mean that this person's a liar, a stealer, or a cheater. This just means whatever I can do here, because it's how I cope. And I don't know any other way than how it is that I cope. And I've coped like this for X amount of years, however old this person is. 50 years, 70 years, 80 years, 20 years, 18 years, I don't know. However old this person is, they've been engaged. However, they've been engaged on autopilot and an understanding of themselves. Now they have an experience that they don't like. Okay. Something is triggered within this person. There's a disconnection from their emotional body. Their emotional body, which is the heart, by the way, exists somewhere in the abyss, because our heart is always there. But the heart cannot be felt or seen or experienced when we have a thick layer of trauma and experience and misbeliefs and egos and stories and coping mechanisms and disassociations and fill in the blank. So how close are we to this heart? And what do I mean by when I say heart? Oh, look at that cat, it's cute. Look at that baby, it's cute. I'm in my heart. No. Okay, that's the heart with a whole thick layer of ego and distortion. This person is having to work through all of this distortion so that they can actually connect to their heart space. And this comes with a complete flip. Okay, a complete flip, because when we get left hanging. We have an existential crisis. We stop. We don't know what's true. We get completely confused. We're lost. We're really lost here in our own narrative. We feel betrayed. We feel betrayed by the experience, other people, God, the universe did me dirty, overwhelmed by this anxiety, not knowing how to handle it. And now maybe my coping mechanisms of the past do not work. I cannot drink away the pain. I cannot talk away the shame. I cannot sit here in the discomfort. But when I do sit here, it feels very uncomfortable and I still don't see the truth because I'm really focused on still the eyes of what happened to me and me being the victim. I was lied to. I was hurt. What's it all for? You know what I mean? This is the type of energy, okay? And we sit in this energy until we can't no more. Because when we're just, what's it all for? I'm helpless, hopeless, and I can't like understand beyond my own trauma here, because that requires me to be courageous. That requires me to ask a question. That requires me to sit with my emotion. That requires me to sit with the action that happened to me and say, how was I involved? How was this not necessarily a betrayal, but an experience of an involvement that has shown me a part of self? There is a lot here of the soul that needs to grow from infancy. There's spiritual infancy here to an awareness. Okay, and so this soul could have been very stuck in superficial land, stagnant, and easily triggered by experience. And the experience is, I experienced something that upsets me, and therefore I believe the story that I'm telling myself immediately on the surface, no question. That was annoying. That was upsetting. That hurt me. I'm the victim. That's to blame. That's not good. I'm good. Or that's bad, and I want to do what's good. It's like, no, that's just the trauma, and that's not hard, and that is completely distorted, and that's not seeing great truth. And so there is this person entering into the world where this gets all flipped upside down. And it has to get flipped upside down. Why? Because they got to question their own thoughts. Is it really the other person? What's really true about me? How did I engage? Okay, this isn't gaslight. A gaslight in saying we're doing things bad and that whatever this person experienced wasn't hurtful. We all experience hurtful situations. We all experience pain. But it's our choice to see beyond our own suffering, our own ignorance, our own stories, and how we intake that experience. And so when we are able to switch how we see things, then the true healing begins. If I cannot switch how I see things, I will forever keep experiencing similar things over and over and over. Painful situations, letdowns, and my story will keep repeating, and I will start believing my reality. See, I keep getting hurt. See, other people are untrustworthy. See, this is what I'm doomed for. See, I am the victim. See, they're the ones misbehaving. See. It's like, yeah, because we want to see out of those eyes, not want, because of course, who would want to choose this? No one. Suffering. But I got good news for you. You don't have to sit here in the suffering. You don't have to. There is a choice. Nobody would choose this consciously. We don't know we're here. This is unconscious behavior. Unconscious behavior acts exactly like this. And so what is the choice? Is to know, hey, I have a choice to see things differently. Yes, you do. Does this mean you got to turn into a bad guy? No, because there is no bad and there's no good. But changing the perception means instead of seeing that person as the bad guy or this situation as the loss or this thing being bad, we're not going to see it that way no more. That's gaslighting ourselves. And we perpetuate suffering in that unconscious state, always believing in good, bad, that's the bad guy, I'm the victim, or this wasn't good, now it's good, now it's bad, now it's this, now it's that. No, but we cannot ascribe meanings to things in that way when we're still unconscious and asleep, when we still have trauma, when we still have distorted beliefs, when we still haven't transcended past our own egos, our own pain, our own suffering, and seen beyond this experience and all the experiences that have made us skeptical, angry, resentful, feeling worthless, or losing trust in our own self or others or humanity. When we're still fighting and resisting we want to be right, we want to be seen. It's me against the world, and I'm going to prove that I'm winning, that I'm valuable, that others should value me, that others should treat me. This is ego. The world revolves around me and the I, because it's in a state of fight or flight. Of course, an ego doesn't want to die. When it feels threatened, it's going to fight. And it sees other automatically as a threat and a trigger. What does the heart do? Not that. The heart doesn't say it's other against me, because the heart knows that there is no separation. There is no versus. There is no duality. Yes, we see in the 3D contrast, we have to. In order to experience love, we must experience fear. In order to experience light, we must know what darkness looks like. In order to experience sweet, we must know the sour. And so there is polarity that we experience in the 3D. It doesn't mean it doesn't exist. But what doesn't exist is duality in regards to that person is separate from me. This is good and this is bad. This is the way it should be and this is the way it shouldn't be. Why? Those are Hierophant beliefs. There is no good or bad. There's just polarity and the scale of polarity. There's positive and negative. There's shadow and there's light. And when we're heavy in shadow, of course, that's heavy in darkness. When we're heavy in light, then we could be in blindness. It's opposite. Okay. And so there is a need to work through awareness here, because the heart is where the truth is. The heart is where the true self can be embodied through the soul, through God, through spirit. And we cannot learn to love self, love other, love humanity, come online. We can't come online until we deal with this unconscious, egoic, fear-based energy. It's covering, it's like a thickness here on the heart. It's like a layer of fat. And so does that mean that the heart is less, or that the heart is not there, or that they're heartless? No. Everything is underneath that layer of fat. Distortion, beliefs, pain, shame, guilt, anger, need to control. And on top of it all, when we're not going internal to see that layer of fat, what we're doing is we're using our eyes to see the situation, circumstance. So flirtation is the surface, skimming the surface. This experience, I'm focused on this experience, what they said, when they left, how they did it, what happened to me. Surface, experience, behavioral. I'll never get to the core. This person is being asked to shift their focus from the surface, and they will. Why? Because they cannot sit in surface analysis. What they said, what happened, and then they happened this way, and then that's why this person did that, and then I called the cops because then that person, and then they're going to do that because there's a lawsuit, and then it's like, well, what is that? That's matrix and that's asleep. Those are all like behavioral 3D things that are just keeping us busy and asleep, numb and asleep, not spiritual at all. That's the flirtation. That's the surface. So this isn't about what happened, who said what, and how they left, and when they did that, and how the betrayal happened. No, none of that. Does that mean the betrayal didn't happen? No, we might have felt betrayed. We might have had the experience. Absolutely. There's an experience here. But it wasn't them versus me. They were out to get me. I, the center of the universe. And now I got to gain ground. No, there is no gaining ground. There's just going inwards. What is going inwards? Going inwards is looking at our own fat that's around this heart, the distortion. That's what this person is going to have to do here, okay? Because they've lost trust. They've been disappointed. They feel betrayed. They might feel humiliation. They might feel overwhelmed. And this is what triggers a dark night of the soul. And what happens after a dark night of the soul? We start to see the error of our own thinking. But we don't have to carry guilt, because once we see this, we can automatically still be in that energy and automatically then be like, oh no, I'm bad. Now I'm the bad guy. Now we're just doing it to ourselves. And so that's the energy that we're having to see through, is that identity, that ego that points the finger in judgment and blame at the other. And then when we finally realize, hey, wait, maybe I had an involvement, or maybe I can shift my thinking here because I can't sit in suffering. And then we go inwards and then, oh my goodness. And we start pointing the finger of blame at ourselves. That doesn't help anyone, because it's not about right and wrong. And now I'm wrong. And now I'm bad. And now I carry this guilt. And now I carry the shame. And now I'm angry at myself. No. What does that help? No one. There is no being angry at anyone. There's just a journey of unfoldment. There's a seeing beyond truth, seeing beyond illusion and seeing truth, seeing beyond the veil, seeing beyond the thickness. But if we get trapped in the story, the fat is keeping us stuck. I'm angry. I'm working through that fat layer, still thinking it's an identity, still believing it's stories, still believing there's an experience of loss and aloneness and separation. It's like, no, there is no separation. There is no loss. There is a journey of experience in which we are being called to see a greater truth. And when we are so stuck on the surface of what's happened in the 3D, who said what and who did what, we're not seeing the fat. And when we are in the fat and we get lost in the fat, pointing blame, carrying shame and guilt, feeling alone and separated, feeling betrayed, feeling abandoned, being confused, feeling humiliation, and all of that stuff. We don't need to feel that either. That's the illusion. Spirituality is all about transcending past illusion and seeing the greater essence of who you are. Okay, if this is your energy, of course. And who you are as a divine being. So what creates this guilt, this shame, this need to compete, and all of this stuff, and this anger, and this heaviness, and this? Who creates that then? God? No, this is an absence, an ignorance of that, of God. Why? Because in order for God to be seen, in order for love and truth to be experienced, we must have the shadow. The shadow must exist, or else we'll never know our divine nature. And so all this is the absence of God, the absence of truth, the absence of what is actually in the highest polarity of truth, love, and light of the heart space. That's clarity and truth, true consciousness, expanded awareness. What's in the opposite here is still being asleep, living in the matrix. He said, she said. I'm still in the superficiality of it all, believing in shame and guilt and them and me and separation and battles and none of that. And I know that I don't have a lot of this in this channel, but I know that occasionally I get people creeping in here with this. And this isn't for everyone's reading, but this is 99% of society in this energy. Okay, so if you're here, there's no judgment here. This is seeing beyond the veil. And so this person experienced something unhappy, but they're seeing it as, I got betrayed by this person, whatever. Maybe it was somebody did something that it really left them hanging high and dry. And they could say, well, it was a real experience. Yes, it was. But this is beyond the experience. This is challenging oneself, looking in one's own fat, the illusion of the belief of the story we told ourselves. And we could choose to believe this for sure. But what happens? We stay in suffering. We go experiencing more situations that validate this reality. We're not ascending. We remain angry. We carry resentments, heaviness, guilt, shames. And we're expecting, ourselves to look better or do better, or other people to do better. It's like, no, that's judgment. There is no expectation here other than just seeing through the illusion. Seeing through the illusion of separation. And so this person is going to feel abandoned, lonely, at a loss, maybe abandoned by God, abandoned by an experience they don't like, feeling betrayed. And it's all to awaken this person, to shake things up, to get them upset. Sometimes we need to get very upset here in order for us to make change. Because what the ego wants to do is maintain its status, its hold. It wants to maintain its position, and it's going to, come hell or high water, prove its story and its narrative. No, but this is really what happened. It's like, okay, that's the ego wanting that story to be very real, and it is an experience, but the reality is that experience does not dictate the truth behind that, the truth of the heart. Because the truth of the heart is that experience and behaviors don't dictate the essence of who anyone is. That's like saying all of a sudden live my life doing whatever I do. Okay, and I'm a teacher, I have children, I have a name, I know my gender, and I live my life. And then all of a sudden I have an accident and I lose that memory altogether of all of that. Does that mean I don't exist? I'm completely gone now, never to exist again? No, it's all of those stories disappeared, because those stories aren't what makes me. Those stories are not true in essence. Yes, they're experiences. Yes, they manifested in passing, but they are a finite experience. Okay, and you are an infinite being with essence behind experience, and that is the ultimate truth. And when we connect to that ultimate truth, we're getting behind the fat, the egos, the stories, the surface, and then we see a great truth of the heart, and the heart never lies. And so things are being all upset here, betrayals, experiences, things we don't like. We don't like these things. But you know what? Spirit is saying this is the journey, because without these experiences, we'd still be asleep. Without these experiences, we wouldn't see our true nature. Without these experiences, we wouldn't connect to the heart. We wouldn't learn to love. Never mind loving loving ourselves, because we can't love ourselves in this energy. We could think, yeah, we are. We're trying to fight for a position. That's not out of love. That's out of fear. That's a fight or flight based on an ego response. Truly loving oneself is to sit in the present moment without story, connecting to the essence, being at peace with ourselves. And then when we connect to that essence and see our true nature, we can see other people's true nature, and it draws in peace, harmony, balance, love. We can't experience love, peace, and harmony when we're all tensioned up here, when we're all in ego, when we can't see beyond the illusion, when we're angry and resentful, when we have criticism, bitterness. And I don't care how this masquerades as I'm being perfect in society. I'm doing all the right things. I was the upstanding citizen here. How dare they betray me? How dare they do this and that? They're bad. Their lifestyle is against the moral ethics, or they went against code. Whose code? And what are you talking about exactly? Question these things. Those make no sense at all whatsoever. Aside from your belief, which you think trumps all. That's the ego, not you. Okay, your ego trumps all beliefs. My belief goes. They're the crazy ones. They're going against this true truth. It's like, no, that's your truth based on a hierophant, an upbringing, a distorted belief. That is not real. That's transient form that's just floating and not going to exist pretty soon. Okay, and so this whole thing creates a big existential opening. It's like cracking open. And what does it crack open? Everything. Not just about this experience, but who am I? Who is God? What is the truth? What decisions do I make here in my world? Is it even worth me being here? How have I lived? What is right? What is wrong? Is there right and wrong? What is truth? What is reality? What is illusion? What is fiction? All of this stuff, it's massive and it's heavy. And I wasn't expecting this last reading to be so heavy. Okay, so let's read the tarot and get a little bit more insight as I close out this reading. Beautiful pile number 3. I do love you very much. This isn't easy. This is awakening. First level awakening here, okay? Clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good of pile number 3. Please protect me and the viewer as I channel this message. Please protect their journey as they walk through this for the greatest and highest good. What is it that they're needing to know about their next level of growth and how it manifests in the 3D? Magician, 7 swords, Virgo, Gemini. How is it that this person's spiritual growth is manifesting in the 3D? What are they coming into here spiritually? 10 of Wands. Why is the Magician here? Why is this Magician here? Clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good of pile number 3. We have the 4 of Cups. Why is 7 swords here? No, okay. Those are separate. Why is 7 swords here? For the greatest and highest good, please, of pile number 3. Please help me to channel in a way pile 3 will understand. 3 swords and then 7 pentacles and strength. That's this energy. Okay. 9 swords. Yeah. Okay, and then we have these three. Knight of Wands in reverse, 7 Wands in reverse, and then the Queen of Swords. Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Okay, let me sit here with this energy. What's under 9 Swords is the 4 of Swords in reverse. Okay. Okay. Beautiful angel. I love you very much. It's not easy at all, okay? You're not doing anything wrong. If we're not in an energy of how can I understand myself better so that I can understand God's nature better, then we're staying in suffering and regressing. So what's going to help you? Okay, if this is your energy, what's going to help you is always wanting to understand and be curious about the truth. Okay, the truth. Universe, show me the truth. God, show me the truth. Divine, show me the truth. What is the truth? Not, I'm going to go seeking from the position I'm at with the ego-based eyes to see the truth myself. No, you're not going to find it. You're not going to find it that way. Okay? So what's happening here? There's an instability here. Okay? Mental instability that's caused by a betrayal. Anxiety, dark night of the soul, feeling completely unregulated and imbalanced when it comes to mental thoughts. The anxieties, the stories, the fears, and all of the chatter, the mind is taking control of this person. And the mind will get louder and louder and louder and louder and louder and louder until all we are is the mind. Obsessive thoughts, replaying the story, who hurt me and how it happened and blah, blah, blah. And I believe that story so real. I'm so lost in my mind that I can't connect to anything else. Meanwhile, the heart is in there. Meanwhile, there's so many other parts of ourself that's alive and beautiful and healthy. But all I'm experiencing is a tiny little part of my mind. That story in my mind, and it's so real and it's over consuming me. It's taking over my life. Why does it happen this way? Because we're having a dark night of the soul. The mind must go through an existential experience here in order for it to finally snap. Okay, now this doesn't mean snap. I go crazy in the way that it's like, it is a form of a crazy, but it's a dark night of the soul. It's a spiritual crazy. And so this is seeing beyond the mind story. It takes great courage. The ego is the biggest challenge that we'll ever have to face. It is the devil, okay? The ego. And it takes a lot of courage for ourselves to come up against ourselves, question our own thoughts, question our beliefs. It takes courage because it's easy to just blame other and see things the way we've always seen it, okay? But at the same time, we can't see through our own ego. And so when we're trying to question the ego from the ego's perspective, we're always going to be right. The ego is going to keep shape-shifting. Okay, and so there's an identity we're trying to upkeep here in the mind, and it's not true. And so it's going to take courage for us to see beyond this because there's an untruth story here that we're believing, and we keep manifesting that. And what happens is when we keep manifesting from that egoic belief, we create suffering. And the more suffering we create, the more of the dark night of the soul, the more existential crisis, the heavier, the sadder, the more disappointed. And Spirit is saying this experience is so we can experience disappointment and loss to the degree in which we snap and we have to wake up. Why? Because in this energy, it isn't fruitful. In this energy, we cannot create from the heart. We cannot manifest. We cannot love. We cannot reach spirit in this energy. We're in a sleepy time energy here that isn't conscious, and it doesn't produce good fruit. We might have experienced fruit in this energy. Oh, look, this person is cooperating. This is good. And experience certain things like this. But the good fruit is actually not in this energy. And so we're hitting a wall. And we're going to consistently hit a wall here if we keep hanging on to the same way we've done things, the same beliefs, the same egos. And we might think, yeah, I'm strong to face this. I'm going to get through this pain and I'm going to fight against it and overcome it. It's like, no, that's actually what's creating the pain. There isn't an overcoming, a need to face an external world or a situation. There's an internal courage that's required. And the courage, which is even more of a strength, is to question our own thoughts, question our own involvement, question our own beliefs, question our own mind story, question our own narratives, question our own inauthenticity, question our own understanding when it comes to suffering, when it comes to separation, when it comes to our experience, question our own position with despondency, disappointments. Okay, because I feel like you feel let down by the universe, and it's them versus me, and it's like, no, your energy here is the thing that's needing to be looked at. If this is your reading, of course, or you're reading your energy, okay. And so Spirit is saying you're put in a position here where you're going to keep manifesting the same thing until you can't no more. You can't no more. It becomes too heavy because nothing gets created with this type of an energy. We keep experiencing other people's betrayals. We keep experiencing heartbreak. We keep experiencing disappointments. And not because we deserve this. It's because we're being called to see beyond the veil, that there is no them versus me. There is no separation. Yes, we could feel upset. We could feel betrayed, but the feeling itself doesn't equate to truth. Feeling is based on a thought. The thought comes and then the feeling is triggered. And when thought and feeling are so enmeshed that we have the thought and the feeling and they come at once, I'm raged, I'm angry. I feel this feeling so intently because the thought comes, I feel the betrayal. And when we can't separate the feeling from the thought and create space in between it, it's one and the same. And we get triggered and then we react on the feeling and we think this feeling is so true. I'm betrayed. I'm hurt. I feel it in my bones. It's like, yes, the feeling is very real. Never ignore the feeling. The feeling is your compass. It's telling you you're feeling something. Look at it, examine it, but it's not telling you how to react in this moment. This mind story is not necessarily true. The feeling is true. The story is not. 100% the story is not. And so we have to separate the feeling from the thought. Sorry, my dog is barking. And so this thought is needing to be examined because the thoughts you're having, the anxiety, the anticipation, the replay of the past, the betrayal, the this, the that, that's all egoic based. And it's keeping you up at night, giving you nightmares. It's going to replay. I feel alone. I feel lost. I feel betrayed. Nothing's happening here. I'm doing the work. No, we're doing something, but we're not doing the thing we need to do. We're in this energy. This isn't going to get anywhere. We got to be in heart energy. Heart energy means I got to see beyond the egos, the fat, resentments, anger, betrayal, judgments, and all of that. I got to surrender. And Spirit says, only when you surrender are you going to be free of this nightmare. Okay? And then you'll have the passion to explore what's out there for me, to fight for what you believe in. But right now, you're asked to surrender, to see a great truth. The great truth is being shown to you only through a period of transformation, seeing beyond our own egos, understanding what lessons were for, so we could be very clear and truthful and honest about our own involvement, so we could transform, so we could shed egos, so we could see beyond our own involvement, even if other people were acting shady or betrayal, because this isn't about them. And I'm reading your reading, not theirs. So if they acted however they acted, sure. This is about you. All about you. Do you want to suffer? Do you want to carry this burden? Do you want to stay there in nightmares? No, of course not. So the only way is to see beyond the ego. And we don't have to sit in a dark night of the soul for 10 years. Because like I said, if we start navigating the fat, I hope this makes sense. Okay, because I know this pile might not connect to this way of understanding. But if we're in the ego, using the ego to debunk the ego, we're in the mind, using story to debunk another story, we're never going to get out of it. So how do you get out of it? We have to first come to the awareness that we're not our thoughts, that those thoughts are actually, is it possible? They're not true. I am not my thought. This thought is just an ego story. Don't believe it. It's a lie. It's too heavy. Why do I believe this thing? And how do we know when it's just an ego? When it's shame, guilt, resentment, aloneness, like feeling lonely, abandoned, lost. All of that stuff isn't of God. That's of ego. That's of ignorance. That's of shadow. That's of trauma. That's an absence of God. That's an absence of truth. That's a distortion. God doesn't create that. The ego does. The absence of the knowledge, the absence of the light. Because the heart is all light. It is truth. It is underneath all of that distortion. And when you're in the distortion, using distortion to debunk distortion, you're going to get more distortion. And so right now, there's a big fat layer of distortion that you're navigating. And when you're there, that's the dark night. We can get lost in those stories, completely lost. questioning everything and saying, no, I'm doing the work, I'm questioning it. It's like, yeah, but you're questioning it with more of the same mind story. Just observe. Do not judge. There's nothing here that's threatening. Even if we feel threatened, that's our feeling being unified with that thought. That's the feeling being so married to that thought that it has no separation from that thought. It doesn't let the thought breathe. This is why meditation is important. When we can sit with our thoughts and really just see it neutral, not casting judgment, not putting label, not attaching story to it, not saying that's what this thought means. No, see the thought, sit with the thought, and then watch. How am I feeling right now when I have this thought? And when that feeling comes through, even if it's intense, just know that that feeling is true, but it's tied to an untrue thought. And now we could separate slowly the feeling from the thought, and we start to see through these thoughts. We start to see through our ego. We start to see reality. And when you see reality clearly, you see that there is no separation, that there was no betrayal, and that you can manifest differently now, not from a place of feeling angry or bored or resentful or disappointed or let down, but from a true place of clarity, transformation, truth, honesty, desire to seek the truth, experience life from the clear eyes, not the distorted eyes of loss. Okay, because Spirit's saying, like, you're going to manifest in the energy that you're in, and Spirit's trying to prep you out of an energy here that keeps manifesting nothing but disappointment. Okay, more of the same, more headaches, more dark night of the soul, more questioning my own sanity here. Okay, beautiful pile number 3. I love you so much. This isn't easy. Okay, I do have information in my description box there. If you're needing any additional support outside of this reading, then you can visit those resources. Okay, and I also have a playlist of developing your healing through your spiritual journey. That might be useful for some of you guys. Okay, I love you very much, and I'll see you at the next one. All right, bye-bye.